Alright guys, check it out. This is a 1985 Honda 250sx. So it's kind of like the utility version of the 250 Honda. It's got electric start on it. It's got lights. You can see it's pretty big, beefy, and it is shaft driven. You can see it right there. Has a hitch on it. Looks like it's got some custom made Nerf bar type things. Looks like it's got some LED lights on the front. Original headlight. Got a rack on the back. Looks like it's pretty complete. Stock silencer. Looks like it was last registered in 2015. So, looks like it's got kickstart as well. Doesn't look like it has any compression. I don't know what's going on with that. Maybe the kickstart doesn't work. But like that's like literally zero compression. If it is working, I'm not sure if it is. Doesn't feel like it is. But we've got electric start as well. So that's good. There's a big starter right there. And looks like it goes up to a battery somewhere over here. I think it's underneath the seat here. Oh, you gotta take off the whole rack to get to it. Let's see here. Yeah, there's where the battery goes right there. So, my neighbor dropped this thing off. He got it from, I think, a friend of his who had it sit for a couple of years, and basically he got it for a pretty good price, and he got it back home and there was no spark. So he ended up going through the whole machine trying to get spark on this thing, and he just could not get spark. This is everything he replaced. These are all the original parts for it. Looks like it's a voltage regulator. He tried replacing, he replaced the stator and the pickup coil right here. He replaced the kill switch right here. He replaced the coil. And then the CDI he replaced as well. And then the spark plug, it looks like. And there's another pickup coil in here as well. So it looks like he tried to replace that twice. And he just could not get spark. He said he went over every single wire. You can see all the wiring is disconnected. He reconnected everything with new connections, put a new fuse in there, and he said he made sure the ground was perfect. You can see the ground right there on the frame. He said he rubbed off part of the frame and attached the ground perfectly. So he said he went over pretty much everything. He tore down all the wiring, he said, stripped it all, just to make sure there was nothing wrong with the wires. And he said all the lights work on this thing, but it just does not have spark. So he said he figured he'd drop it off to me and see if I could figure it out. He said he's got like $200 into the new parts, so he's got quite a bit of money invested into it, and he said he just wants to get spark on it so he can ride this thing around. So we're gonna help him out and see if we can figure out this no spark problem. I've done a lot of no spark diagnostics, so I'm pretty confident we can figure this one out. But yeah, it seems like he pretty much went over everything. So it should be very, very interesting. But yeah, I guess we're going to start with the simple stuff first. All right, first thing we're gonna do, like I said before, was check the easy stuff, but we gotta get this seat off of here first. And we'll check out all the wiring here. Kind of quick go over everything. So it looks like this is a positive wire going to the solenoid down here. That's pretty standard. And then we've got the negative wire, and that looks like it's going to be grounding out to right there. So we're probably going to check that ground first. You can see right there is the negative ground. So probably check that first, just to make sure that has good ground, because that's really the only contact ground that I can see. So that might be the issue right there, because he never mentioned that. So if the first thing we check is the issue, that would be amazing. So see, it's right there. That bolt right there. So let's get to that first. Shave some of that frame off. And then we'll get a battery hooked up on here and see what happens. I guess we should probably test for spark before we do that even. That would be the first step. If you don't have a battery pack like this, it's really nice for testing out no spark issues on four-wheelers and stuff if you don't want to invest in a battery right away. So we'll hook these up. One goes to positive, one goes to negative here. Alright, that's hooked up. Let's see what happens when we turn on the key here. Neutral light lights up. Let's see if the lights work. They probably don't work without it. Doesn't look like the lights are working. Maybe it has to go all the way. Lights don't look. Starter works. Doesn't look like the lights are working. Not sure why the lights wouldn't work. Low work. Okay, so it doesn't look like the lights are working. Let's see if the brake light works. The lights are working at all. They might not be hooked up though. So the only thing I can see that's working right now is reverse, and then is the neutral, and then reverse light hooks up when you touch the two wires down there for the reverse. So it looks like the gauge is working. It doesn't look like this thing's working. Oh, there we go. Now it's working. There's almost like a short in there. Look at that. There, now it's working. Oh, now it stopped. And the brake light turned on as well. That's really odd. Huh. So right away, the switch seems kind of iffy on it. But let's check for spark here quick. Alright, take the boot off. We gotta check the boot and the wire as well on this thing. Get the spark plug out. Alright, here's the plug. Looks brand new. There's like no coloring on it whatsoever. So we'll check for spark first. It's easy to check for spark. Let's see here. Turn this guy on. Turn that on. And you might need to have, don't know if you need to have the brake held in for this one or not. Does not look like it. But we'll hold that in anyway. Let's see. Right, here we go. This is without the brake held in. Nothing. I'm holding the brake while doing it now. Just see what we get. Not getting anything. It almost sounds like the engine's not spinning over, but holding my finger over the spark plug hole, you can feel it. You can feel it pump over here. Alright, so no spark yet. I'm going to turn it to off here and just kind of wiggle this while pressing this thing. No spark. Alright, so we don't have any spark here. Let's test the ground, like I said before, right there. Get that ground off and just see if that's making good contact. I mean, it should be because everything else is working, but we'll just make sure. Alright. So we'll clean up this ground first with some sandpaper and then reconnect it. We'll see what we get. Alright, ground is reconnected. Let's see if anything changed here. No spark. Alright, so it wasn't that ground. Let's do another simple fix here and see if it's the spark plug boot. See if wire is exposed on here. And it could just be the spark plug boot as well. And there's some wire exposed. We'll cut off a little bit of it, but we can try. So, cut part of that off. And then reconnect that. Throw a spark plug in there. We'll also try changing out the spark plug. Alright, let's see if we get spark here. And nothing. Alright. We'll try changing out the boot next here. Just going over all the simple stuff first. Oh, and that came right out of the boot, so that could potentially be the issue. Maybe it was not making good contact there. Just rip that right out. That's not a good sign. We'll see if the new boot works. That'd be something if that was it. Cut off a little bit more. Usually that doesn't happen when you take it off. Twisting out the new boot. Sometimes it's just the simplest stuff. Alright, new spark plug, new boot. See what happens. This might work actually. High hopes. Nothing. Try making that gap a little bit smaller in the spark plug. No spark whatsoever. Alright, next thing we're going to check is the kill switch. Alright, let's test out the kill switch here. Maybe it's grounding out. You never know. Alright. Looks clean in there. Doesn't look like any corrosion really. Alright, we disconnected the white and black. That should bypass the switch. Alright, let's check for spark again. We bypassed the switch here. See if we got some spark. I'm probably gonna get shocked here. Got nothing. Nothing at all. Alright, so next we're testing the black and white wire that's going up to the key switch up here. So you can see the black and white wire going into here. And so basically this is a kill switch as well. And sometimes what happens is when you turn it to on, it still connects to ground, and that grounds out the whole system. So we're going to check that next. We disconnected the wire going to the other kill switch, so then we can see if it's grounding out. So we've got the voltmeter hooked up. We've got the voltmeter set on continuity. So if we hear a beep, we know that there's continuity between ground and this wire, which would be off. And then when we switch the key to on, we don't want to hear a beep. So right now we should hear a beep. And we're going to switch the key to off, and the beep goes off. See that? Beep went off. So that switch is working properly. It's not grounding out. We're going to check the kill switch next, just to make sure that's not grounding out. So when we do hook it back up, we know that's working. So, all right, so now we're going to test out the kill switch. So the kill switch is right up here. We're going to hook it to, first we're going to turn it to off. We should hear a beep. And then we're going to take the kill switch and turn it to the middle position, which should be off. And we don't hear a beep. So that means the kill switch is working properly as well. So kill switch and key are working properly. That's all good to go. I believe this is the neutral light right there. Ground is the green. The 3 are for the lights, which would be coming from the stator. And then the blue and the white, I'm not sure what that one would be. That could be neutral. I think this one's neutral though. So this one should have voltage coming from it right here. And it should actually spark. Alright, so this red and black wire coming from the engine is what goes into the CDI and then creates a spark and gets sent up to the red, or the black and the yellow one connected to the coil right here. So this one should have some voltage coming from it. Right here. So what we're going to do is hook up a alligator clip to it and then ground this to the engine to see if we're getting at least some type of voltage coming from that one, because that'll tell us if that's good or not. So let's hook up this one and then test it. We'll hook up right to here. That's a good spot. See if we get a spark of some sort. And ground this right to here. Oh, that's sparking. It's hard to see. Let's see if you guys can see up here. Might be a little bit easier to see up here. Go right to here for it. I'm probably gonna get shocked. See that? Hard to see. There we go. You guys saw that one. So it's getting spark. So we're going to follow this red wire and see where that leads. I believe it goes into the CDI. So this gets connected to here. Right here. And this we can follow down red and black to the CDI. And then it should come out as black and yellow. Right here. And if it doesn't come back out and spark on the black and yellow, which leads up to the coil, we know that there's something in between here that's not working. So let's see, where else does the red and black lead to? I believe it only leads to that. I'll have to look into it and see, but it looks like it just goes right to the CDI. So we might have a problem with the CDI. This one looks like a new one. We'll try out the old one too. It's sometimes so this is the kill switch wire going into the CDI. We know that that is good. We tested that wire, that's not grounding out. And we know that the green wire is being grounded out right here, going into here. We'll have to test that again just to make sure. But the ground is working. And we know that the red and black is getting spark. And we know that this is just the neutral right here. And we know that that's working. So really, it's just, I think it might be the CDI. Alright, so what we're going to do is take the yellow and black wire going up to the coil off, up here. And we're going to do a continuity test between that plug, and up here to see if there's a break in the wiring. There we go. That came off. So what we're going to do is poke a wire, an end of the continuity tester, in the yellow and black. That one looks like it's right here. We're not going to poke it in all the way. And then we'll poke one up here and see if there's a break. We should hear a beep. If we don't hear a beep, we know there's a break. And there's a beep, so that's good. So there's no break in the system. We're going to reconnect it, and then we'll test and see if there's voltage coming out of that. And we're going to disconnect the wire from the coil, which is the yellow and black wire. And then we'll put an alligator clip on it. And then we'll see if we've got spark at the end of that. If we don't, we know it's probably the CDI here. Let's see. Turn it on. Alright, let's really look for it now here. Not seeing any spark at all. So it looks like the pickup coil is this wire right here. It's blue and white, the pickup coil is. So that's another possibility going into the CDI. So that tells it when to spark. Alright, so it says for the test for the pulse generator, or pickup coil, or pulsar coil, whatever you want to call it. So it's yellow and blue. Is that the test for that? It's just an ohm reading test. And let me just look at the specs here. It says that you want it to be 290 to 360 ohms. So what you do is you connect one to ground and one to the blue and yellow, which is right here. And we should have between, it'll say 0.3 something when we do it, but let's see if we can get a good ground here. Again, we're at 360. It should hit 360 right here. Yep, see exactly 360. So that reading's good from that wire. So we're going to take a look at the pickup coil in here. That's really the only thing I haven't checked besides the ohm reading, which reads good. So we're going to take off the cover right here, the starter gear right here, and take a look at that. Alright, let's take this cover off now. I mean, it should come right off, I would think. It's really silicone down. There's a bunch of oil coming out the bottom. You can see here. Alright, we finally got this guy off here. There we go. There's the stator. And there's the pickup coil down here, right here. Everything looks good to me. Check out the flywheel here. Maybe something's going on with the flywheel. That looks good. This is where it triggers the pickup coil. That mark right there. Everything looks really good. Alright, so it looked like the CDI might be the issue. I looked at that CDI. That CDI is for a 200 from 1985 and a 250R. and they said does not work with the 250sx. I looked at all the reviews, and then this one that was in here doesn't look like an OEM one. It looks like another aftermarket one because it doesn't have the sticker at the bottom. So I ended up buying a 1985 OEM CDI box. It was a little bit more expensive, $51.99, but I think that'll give a spark. So fingers crossed, we ordered that up, and then we ordered up a new solenoid for it because that one just went out. So we've got about $60 into it. All right, it's about a week later. We finally got the CDI. So let's compare it to the other two that we have, old ones that were on it. Let's see here. You can see there's a sticker right there. It says HAOCI67. Sticker right here. It looks like part of like a number. Let's see. $199811595. Warranty protection. And then there's a brand on it as well. Shindenjin is the brand. And then this one, let's see, the two that we tested. Here's one of them. See how much smaller it is too. It's tiny. On here somewhere. Right here. That one's the same size, really small. So hopefully that gives us the spark we need. Alright, we're gonna disconnect that one. Disconnect this one. Gonna have to zip tie that as well. There we go. Put the new one on. Hopefully this is gonna work. Fits right on. That's a good sign. Alright, let's get the battery in, and then let's see if this thing has spark. Alright, turn this thing to on. Let's see, is our spark plug. That's all hooked up down here. Should be good to go. Alright, moment of truth here. Will it have spark? We have to, I don't think electric start works. Let's see. It just clicks. Probably get shocked doing this, but worth it. Let's see here. Oh, look at that. Good spark. Yes. That's awesome. Well, that was the fix. The CDI was bad. Alright, let's get the new solenoid in there so I don't have to keep on crossing the leads like that. I just got a cheap solenoid off of Amazon. I think it's the exact same one that was on there. Yeah, looks like it. So let's install that. Looks like it went this way. Put that one in there, like that. Lock washer. Oops. And then this wire comes off. This whole thing should slide right out like that. Alright, and then we'll attach these to these two wires down here. shove right in there, like that. We'll test her out, see if it clicks again. Right, turning it to on. Neutral light works. Let's see if it clicks. Alright, that works. Sweet. So we got everything fixed. Now let's get the spark plug in and some oil in it and attempt to start it. Alright, let's add a little oil to it, since when we took off the cover, it kind of drained out most of it. Add a little bit to it. Alright, we've got oil in it. Let's see what the gas looks like in here. There's not a ton in there. We got a clear cup, so we should be able to see the color. She's a little rusty. Eee. Not the greatest. Both settings work though, that's good. So that's what we're dealing with. It's not horrible. So we're gonna drain that and then probably add a filter going to the carburetor. Alright, draining the old gas, and then we'll get some fresh gas in there. Alright, it's got gas, it's got oil, it has spark. Let's see if she fires up here. Oh yeah, fired right up. I hear a little knocking in the top end here though, I think. Valves probably need to be adjusted. I don't know if that's a gas tank rattling or... That might be the cam chain. What do you guys think? Cam chain or valve? It's smoking a little bit. Maybe we'll check the valves here quick. All right, let's get these valve covers off of here. There we go. I don't know what the spec for these are. I'm guessing 0.0 0.05. No way. Oh, there we go, we got her. Alright, so you can kind of tell how often they adjusted the valves by looking at how messed up these are. And this one looks like it's only been opened like maybe once because there's a tiny ding. This one's been opened quite a few times. You can see there's a couple more dings. One comes. That one's on there. There. So top dead center on these should be a T. There's a little T mark. Kind of hard to see. See it? A little mark like that. That's right in there. And the valve's up at the top. Should be loose. The valves are loose. Kind of hear them. They don't seem that bad though. We'll check the specs and adjust those. Alright, so for both intake and exhaust, the clearance spec is 0.003 for both. So we'll get the feeler gauge in there and see if they're a little bit big. Alright, just checked with the 0.003 feeler gauge and they are perfect. So it is not the valves, and typically if the valves were way off it wouldn't start that easily. If they were tight or something like that, it wouldn't start as easily as it is. It'd be hard starting because it'd be lower compression if they were tight. So they are good. The timing chain tensioner is over here. So we're going to take that off and then manually tension it again and see if it tightens up a little bit. I don't know if you can, it doesn't look like you can tighten it up much more than what it is, but we'll just try to get that 8 mil off right here. It's a long bolt. Holy cow. Alright, then we're going to stick a screwdriver in there. You can see oil coming out. It's working. I can feel it spring back. It's just kind of spinning in there. See the oil coming out of it? I'm going to check the timing chain up here, see if I can get a good view of it in there. Looking at the cam chain, it looks a little bit loose. It's not horrible, but there definitely is more than like a millimeter of play. So I'm going to try to tighten this up as much as I can. But it doesn't look like it can tighten much more because this is an automatic tensioner. So I put some tension on it the other way, so hopefully that helps. Or maybe it was just stuck a little bit. We'll see. Alright, valves are in spec. Timing chain, we tightened up a little bit as much as we could. Let's just see if maybe the timing chain was stuck and I got it free. Oh, it's definitely still there. I think it's just a loose timing chain. Definitely hear it. isn't the greatest in the world. See if the lights work here. Lights are working. That's cool. Doesn't sound too bad. Once you rev it up quite a bit, it kind of goes away, and that's another indication that it is the cam chain there. So right now we're just going to leave it and take it for a little test drive. I'm going to let my neighbor know and see what he wants to do with it. I'm guessing he'll probably just want to change it himself because I think he works on these quite a bit. So I'm guessing he'll probably want to go through the whole machine and get it all running properly and oil change properly, get the oil filter in there and all that fun stuff. But we just were here to get spark and to get it running.